Hi, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, everyone. If you can hear me and see me, please drop the comments and say where you are coming from, where you are dialing in from. My name is Ola, as usual, and welcome to my channel. You could be seeing me, you could be watching this from Facebook, from LinkedIn, or from YouTube. And I'm so excited to have you guys. Today is going to be very, very interesting, if I must say so myself. We're having an interesting guest with us today. Her name is Lala. And just to give a little bit of background, right? I put this up on my social media handles. The reality about money is that our money decisions are driven primarily by our mindsets, by our upbringing, by the examples that we've seen, by the idea we have around money. Sorry, once again, when you join, please just say where you're joining from. Oh, hi, TT. Hi, TT. Let me drop a note here. Join in. Okay. So your money decisions are driven primarily not by logic, not by logic. I must agree that it's not by logic, but by mindset, background, the things that we have seen people do. Sometimes it's about I saw this happen to someone, so it must never happen to me, or this is all I know to do when it comes to money. This is how my mom handled money. Um, and this is all I know. Or sometimes it's about how we spend money. Some people saw someone die with like a billion and one amount or one random hefty sum in their accounts, and so for them it's like I must. Why am I piling up money? I must spend it. So it's very, very important as individuals to like trace back our money mindsets, trace back what our thinking is around money, trace back where it is coming from, and then define it. Like literally define it. That's what these sessions are about. Basically, we have different people from different backgrounds, different works of life, that have somehow or the other figured out that this particular part of my money mindset needs to be fixed. It is not working for me. It's not serving me anymore. So I need to do something to fix it. And that's literally what this session is about, right? We're talking about the mindset that, so money mistakes that we've made in the past and what we have done to fix it. And we have a special guest with us. Her name is Lala. Her name is Kemi Lala Akindoju, and she is an actor. She is a producer. She's an award-winning actor, a producer. Backstory is that I've known her for years, for like donkey years. We've known each other before there was Instagram and Facebook, right? And it's so amazing to have her with us. She's trying to join. Hold on, let me get her in. Sorry, just seems to be having some technical issues. But yeah, so yeah, Lala is like an award-winning actor, right? She's trying to join again. Sorry, she had to fix some technical issues, but she's an award-winning actor. So I literally saw her when she started acting. She started on stage. Then of course she's been a producer. She's done a couple of movies, right? She's done some stage. She's been a, what's it called, like an MC for events, right? And these are things that have evolved over time. But then with all this visibility, there have been some money mistakes, right? There have been some things that she could have done better. And that's what we are looking to learn about today. So if you are here, you are listening, I would really like to know where you're listening from. I'd really like you to say hi, right? And let us know where you are listening in from. And okay, so yeah, Lala is here. So let's add that to the stream. Hi, Lala, how are you?
Hi. Hi.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Are you
Can
sure
you
you're
hear
not
me?
muted? You are muted. You are muted.
I'm now can you hear me now?
Hold on. Hold on 1 second.
can hear you.
Okay.
And it says everyone can see and hear
Hold
me.
on 1 second, please. Okay. Speak again.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yep, I can. Yeah, so it was my technology at work.
Girl,
Can
and
you hear
your
me?
your your camera looks very cinematic.
This is my
Like you look
YouTube.
like you are in like 4D. What phone? Are you using a phone?
Certainly not. I'm
Premium.
using my cameras, yeah. But yeah, thank you for allowing us to take out of your time today. Thank you for honoring our invitation and being willing to share of your story. So I've introduced you without you being here, but
That's okay. That's
then
okay.
that's okay. That's okay. So let's start. Let's start. Let's so give us some background. How were you in your 20s? What was your tell us your 20s money story, and then tell us about where you are right now.
I think my 20 money story was really about survival. That was what was at the forefront of my mind, surviving. And it was like, what do I need to do to make sure that I can pay my bills, I'm not in debt, and I'm still living my dreams. Those things were they were like my focus in my 20s because I work as an artist, a performing artist. I'm a full-time artist, so I don't have a guarantee of a salary. I registered my company in my 20s. I did my first production under my company in my 20s. And I can say already, I only just I can only now boast of sorting out my taxes with that company account now in my 30s, right? So you can already hear the mistakes from then, because it was, I mean, I guess the one good thing I did was not register a business name and register a limited liability company, which allows for better structure company wise. So that's one thing I'm very grateful to my lawyer for. I think the one thing I paid attention to then that I would even give myself credit for was legals. I think I'd heard too many legal stories. So I had a lawyer. I've had a lawyer by my side like since. So I don't get myself into trouble legally. But otherwise, um, my money life in my 20s was really about surviving and hustling and how many,
Okay.
let me book the gigs so that I can just, have cash flow. Because I think also my 20s, my earlier 20s was really like things were hard, surviving was hard. But in that period, there was also more self discovery. So I knew that, okay, there's a certain quality of life I desire. There are things I desire. There are things I hate, like owing people, like not being able to afford certain things. And I don't think I had such high taste. It's even now that maybe my taste is increasing, And in that period, I didn't know much. I was very financially illiterate. So as a person, I don't like figures. Figures give me palpitations. Excel sheets, I don't want to see it. Give me a form, you have caused problem. You know, all those things. But so I wasn't very savvy, right? But I was a bit traditional. So there's always vex money. I will always take out vex money from anything that I did. But so just to be more specific to your question, my 20s were filled financially. It was really about survival. Survival was the focus. And I was living from hand to mouth a lot of times. But as my 20s were winding down, things were getting better.
Okay. So when you say things were getting better, was it as a result of the money is increasing or I'm handling it better? So, or would you say a mix of both? What would you say what drove that getting better?
I would say a mix of both. I'll say a mix of both because yes, the money was increasing because I was earning more. I was becoming more proficient in my job. I was growing a bigger name. I was commanding a lot more as my 20s were winding down. And then I was realizing that um, okay, Lala, serious business, like adulthood, this financial lifestyle. And of course, I had you in my life, which consciously or unconsciously, like, what will Ola do? What will Ola not do? All those things. So, I mean, so for example, I've been paying my rent since I was 20. So every time I earned money, it was like, this time next year, I must have rent money. So there was a time it felt like I was working to just pay my rent. like, because it was like all my money would go into it. Or whenever it was time to take rent, I could take a loan because I knew I would pay it back, because the challenge would be I didn't have that bulk amount at that
Gosh.
time. But I know that in the space of time, I would make it back. So it was like, who could just help me with the bulk amount? Because, unlike abroad where you pay rent monthly, if I was paying my rent monthly, I would have been okay. But because
Mm.
we don't have that structure here. So there was a time it felt like everything I was working for was for rent. And I found that a lot
Mm.
of people around me were not paying rent like I was paying. A lot of my peers, a lot of even my colleagues, my age mates were not paying rent. So I had more responsibilities. Then I had bigger dreams than most people. So when I produced my first play on stage, I was 23 or 24, right? Under my company with big stars that I had to raise the money for and understand. I mean, I had taken some time to understand the business of theater, but to now do it on my own,
Do
where I'm
it.
the one that's going to pay everybody's salary, I'm the one responsible for the actual cost, the sales is all mine. I took my mommy borrowed money on my behalf, people, my daddy, you know,
Can
all kinds.
imagine.
But I mean, I always say that production, I begged, I borrowed, and I stole. That's how I always put it, because of everything went into it, everything I owned, everything, friends, family, my aunties would write checks. Just, okay, we're supporting you, and thankfully they did not beat me. I did not put me on Instagram of like I'm a debtor. This girl does not pay our salary. So at least we covered face, for lack of a better word. But the business, I think it was not until maybe 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago,
Mm.
that I can say, that I confidently say that, okay, I'm producing a play and we're breaking even, we're not running at a loss. And some of it is because of my financial literacy, but some of it is also in understanding the industry better, getting better at producing, understanding how to raise money, knowing that, okay, I shouldn't use my money for business. I should use my personal money for
Mm.
business. Like, you use business money for business money. You find money that is riskable because there's already risk in that money. And wherever you got it from, the risk has been planned for, has been thought of. So even if the money is lost, it was part of the plan.
Part
So
of
it's not
plan
money that you were meant to use to actually survive, that you should
for
use for
parents.
risk. You understand? Your parents, you know. So it took me a while to understand that. And I
Mm.
think my 20s was the sacrificial period. I never invested in my 20s.
Mm.
Um, I saved, but I saved traditionally. Just keep one money somewhere, just be putting money away. So I always had like another account. If I earn money, I'll just put money away for my rent. Just like this big money that has come in. If I earned, so our work as well, very unpredictable. There's no salary guarantee. So when you can make money that somebody will make in 4 months in one day, and you might wait another week before it comes, or you might get it in back to back. You don't know, you know. So whenever
Mm.
I would get something I considered a huge amount at the time, I would take out
Split it
some
up.
for savings. Exactly. Split it up,
Mm.
do some charity work here, sow some seeds, but primarily take it out. So I didn't have cash for flexing. I not flex. I not have fun. I not buy wig.
Ha ha ha
Everything
ha.
you gotta calculate it before you be like,
Yeah.
okay, how can I couple with this person? So I think those years were really on the streets.
On the
I
street.
mean, just
Hardcore.
tough lessons. Like, I wish I was watching it in a film or reading it in a book, but I was experiencing them. I was making the mistakes and I was learning. Now I look back and I know much better. So I know that maybe some of that money, if it was rent, maybe I could have put it in fixed deposits. If I needed it 6 months later, if I needed it 1 year later, it was better than just leaving it in one account.
I
But
do. Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
didn't know that. And I didn't have trust, small African problem, illiteracy problem. Like, I
Something
beg, I
like,
go. I don't, let me put this where I can be seeing it.
I think I've been
I feel like,
seeing it. I love
even,
it.
Yeah. So let
So,
me
so,
ask your
so,
next
so for
question.
you, so what I hear here, and I think it's very relatable. First of all, if you're just joining, you're welcome. I see some new numbers. I see some people coming in, so you're welcome, and I appreciate if you can just say hi and your name and where you are watching from, what state, what country, wherever you're watching from. Um, but then what I hear here is the average story of an entrepreneur. I don't think it's
Mm.
peculiar to acting as a whole. I think with anything that you start and you have to depend on, if you
Mm-hmm.
start something where you have a job and then you are like teething as you go along, but you have
Yes.
some other money, right? So it's the same thing, right? It's just that your field is what it is, right? And then maybe there's a pressure of having to look a certain way because everybody can see you, Maybe there's that pressure. But then I do hear the hustle of an entrepreneur that starts up as an entrepreneur. So I
Mm.
want you to now highlight as looking from that line, from that view or that lens, as
Mm-hmm.
an entrepreneur and an individual. So we are separating the two
Okay.
because you are a real human being with a real life.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then there is the business of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What were the mistakes that we're going to talk about the mistakes, and if you can articulate them, well, what are the mistakes? And then we'll now talk about what your new mojo is in those things, right? So you have the floor.
So the first mistake is even something you just said. I didn't separate business from individual. First mistake. It was
Hmm.
one person, and I think it's so tough, not separating. So I couldn't say this is how much came to me for myself. I couldn't. So first mistake, no separation of business from individual. Everything was one and the same. So even though I did some things structurally for the business, they were just there.
Hmm.
Individual and business was one person.
One
And that
person.
wasn't good. That wasn't good at all. So that was number
Hmm.
one. Number two was I knew nothing about investment. And it wasn't that people were not talking about it to me. I wasn't interested. I sort of blocked my mind from it. I also felt like investment is for rich people.
Ah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a valid point.
Yeah. People that have big
Hmm.
money. Me that I don't have it enough. What am I investing? It's when I'm now relaxed.
When you've
When I
blown.
have lose 1 million, lose 2 million, then we can talk about investment. But investment is not for people that are hustling. That's a mistake. That's a mistake I made.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I I was very financially illiterate. So I didn't know. So not only so there's the mistake of not investing, and there's the preconception of it that is wrong, right? So thinking that investment was not for me on my level, like I
Hmm.
needed some level of bigger financial capacity to invest. Big, big, big mistake.
Big mistake.
Big mistake. Um, um, what else? I mean, because I was really suffering. I was very
La la oh.
I
I
was
love
very
the way you put it.
yes. Let's say that it is. I unlike people unlike other people in their 20s. I think I was prudent at the time, so I wouldn't have any challenges around just blowing money on frivolities. I could only desire frivolities at that stage. There was no room. Like I calculated every dime that I spent. I was that enough.
Hmm.
So I think for me, my biggest mistakes were not investing. Um, I also gave out, I think it was from you that I learned, um, like borrow money that you can give out or something.
Lend to people what you can afford to give out. Don't lend out more than, so if it
Or
goes, it has gone and you are not
and you're
under.
not very good. So
Yeah.
in the middle of all of this, I was the great lender, and those
I
monies
love
will go away and not come back. And I wouldn't explain it, and it would pay me because it was a lot of money.
money,
So in the
money.
spirit of, so sometimes over empathy, because I know how hard it is, and I would like, I mean, so I wish I could call somebody that can answer me. I will
Mm,
now lend money or borrow money that I could not let go of. So please, I need this money in 1 week. I would have
and
planned
then
that
it
money
never go back.
and it never comes back. So
Mm,
that was
mm,
that happened a lot of times.
a lot, a lot.
Um, It happened a lot of times.
I think those three are actually good enough. Hi Nsikan Umar from the UK, and then hi Peter from Lagos. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining in. I think those are very, very real life issues, like Lala, very, very real.
Yeah,
I'm not separating business from personal. I think that is like the first death that
everybody.
any
Yeah,
entrepreneur can kill themselves with, because life just happens. And I can imagine if
yep.
at some point you actually give out a loan on money that is not yours because
Bam.
you don't know, like those kind of things. That and so I want to throw it back to you, because I mean, I'm the one everybody seems to believe I know what to do, but then the reality is that people are figuring these things out. So I want you to say it in your own words. So the first one was not separating. So what was your solution? What did you do? How did you have to create a new business? Did you what how did you tidy it up? So let's hear.
Um, Tidying it up in because I wouldn't even say. I think I'm just about to really start. You know, I've said that this is the year of really building my company, but because I mean hiring staff, all of that, and sometimes we get overwhelmed because we feel like when I have money to hire staff, I will do it. But then there are some things we can do by ourselves. So for me, it was in ensuring that money went into those accounts, like the business accounts, right, that I had opened. So when I write an invoice, I stopped writing. I made sure I always wrote invoices. I started writing invoices, not just, oh, pay me this and we'll text, send me account number, you know. So even if you do send me your account number, I'll just follow it with an invoice, and I will make sure that the invoice is to the company account,
Company.
not my personal account. So that's what happened. And then I will transfer money to myself from the company account. Now, because of the nature of my job, some things are like they're like project based or contract based, not really long term. So anybody that works with me on a project or whatever, I make sure that the money they get comes from the company account, not my account. So that even if the money is somewhere in my account, I'll transfer it to the company account and
And then
disburse from the company account. It made me feel more serious beyond even whatever I was doing for me financially. It just made me feel better about my life. You know that okay, I'm now a serious person.
Oh,
you know,
serious person. I
yes.
love it.
So that was so that and that has really helped. It has really helped. So especially now that okay, I have auditors who actually look through. Yes, I have auditors now, and they're on my. So I wouldn't have taxes piled up like I had before because oh, madam, it's time to file your taxes for the last year. Let's not leave it until last minute, etc., etc. So that happened. Ola, are you still there? Are you there, Ola? Ola, are you still there? I don't want to
You can go ahead. I
just.
have video issues, but you can continue.
Hi.
Can you hear me? My video has some issues, so you can go ahead. Give me a few seconds
Oh,
to resolve.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I was worried, and then I mistakenly. Okay. So I was saying that um so the separation. Okay, what I separate? So the invoicing, money going into the company account, um, filing taxes, really helped with that. Um, for me, understanding investment, um, I didn't really go after the knowledge because I still think it's overwhelming. But I think that building more confidence to the point that I can now ask, okay, how can I invest this? And I must also say, and I'm not trying even to be cliche, when I read The Smart Money Woman, and I'm not being funny because I produced it or acted in it, when I read that book, look, I said who wrote the book. She's a bully. And she would bully you into like, have you read my book? Have you read my book? But I didn't read it because I was like, I don't want to read no financial jargons, you know. But when I finally read it, because it read like a story,
Story.
I
It was
really enjoyed
really
it. Then I
compelling.
started looking for her, in that we need to put this thing because I read it and I was seeing pictures and like we need to put this thing on a screen, you know. So when I read that book, what's it good? One of the other mistakes, I wouldn't even call it my 20s, maybe it's 3 years ago that I recovered from this particular mistake. Saying yes to everything, right?
Mm.
So and what do I mean by everything? Example, Ashwini, right? As much as I would say, oh, I'm not even going to be fussed about a person's wedding I'm not close to, right? But it's all at a point, it now started becoming almost automatic to via Ashwebi, you know. Then in my line of work, I mean, when in my 20s, Sha, I don't know that I could even do that all the time, doing professional makeup, spending money on professional makeup. So I decided to invest in just buying basic makeup things. I mean, I've always had the skill, but you know, what things can I do? Quick fixes. So even I was telling somebody last week that now I only get my makeup professionally done when I'm getting paid. So that fee is in the my fee. So
Mm.
if I'm speaking somewhere and they're not paying me, I'm gonna do it myself. And in fact, I don't want
Fantastic.
to be taking speaking gigs that I'm not getting paid. But amen. But let's even say,
Amen.
yeah. But let's even say that okay,
For
they
whatever
somebody I know
reason.
somebody.
Mm.
You're gonna work with my own foundation and my eyeliner and my personal things. You're gonna take my face like that.
Has it?
Do you
I love
understand?
it. I
You would
love
deal
it.
with that, you know,
I love it.
because I'm not going to enter financial debt
Because
because
of
so
you.
so I already know that okay, it's easy, or except I'm doing a personal big celebration, something that is maybe big for me, a big day in my life or something. But the other day, going somebody's 40th, somebody else's birthday, or we're gonna do it ourselves.
Nah,
So, but what did I do?
ourselves.
Because of my work and because of being photographed, I still have to get it right. I have to still look, you know, not just basics. So I've brushed up my skills, my lash fixing skills. I've even now bought magnetic lashes because it's gonna be
Okay.
easier to magnet it on when there's no professional makeup. But
And
yeah,
there's nobody there.
yes. So these are solutions to save me money. It's a,
Yes, yes.
it's coming from a place of tracking my finances now that I'm in my
Fantastic.
30s. So
Fantastic.
so I was leading up to like investment and reading the Smart Money Woman. And so keeping track of things. So I used to keep track of things like petrol in my car, my data. So I mean sometimes it could be a bad habit. I wouldn't fill my tank until it's almost done. So that I spend the same amount of money filling the tank. And so when I do that on a Tuesday, I know this amount of money is going to last me for 1 week. So next week, Tuesday, we're going to spend that same amount of money to fill the
To
tank.
buy
So
food.
in a
Mm.
month, I know this is how much I spend to move around. In a
Mm.
month, I know this is how much I spend on data. Something good I even did, that was even from my 20s. I didn't used to watch internet TV. I now used to do Netflix because of the cost of mobile data and all. Because my data must last me for a particular period. So if I'm so for phone calls and the things I needed to do with the phone, anything after that, outside of that, emails, I wasn't using data for because I was on a budget.
You're
So,
unable.
but you find that, but then you're now spending money on Ashwebi. You're spending money on some things. So now, even after reading the Smart Money Woman, I'm like, hey, this Ashwebi is a canker one.
You
It's
need
a
to get it
devourer.
out. Yes, yes, yes.
So
I find that
it,
very good. Very good.
yes,
Everybody has their
so
own, including guys. It's
yes,
not just about women and Ashwebi. There's that
yes,
thing that, and it could be drinks. You might not be checking how much you are spending on
you're
drinks every
spending.
Friday with your
Yes,
friends, right?
but
You
you
might
just
not
do
be,
it.
you just do it, like, and it's just normal. But
Mm-hmm.
you need to actually know how to, like, actually know how much is going into what. And I can give a quick hack, right? So what I do is that I can't write, like, as much as everybody says I'm an efiko, including Lala, but I don't write a list. All I do is that I move a certain amount to a particular bank account. So a particular
And that's
card
all we have.
has all my spending, right? So I can, so if I actually want to know what I'm spending money on, I just need to pull out that bank statement. I can see, okay, I went to this restaurant, I went to this restaurant, so you can tell, right?
Yeah.
So even if you don't have the personality, to write in detail. There are hacks that you can
There are
have,
ways
but the
around
most
it.
important thing is that you actually know where your money is going, because that's even the first
Mm-hmm.
problem. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
are putting money, water in a basket, it will never fill up,
Yes.
never ever.
Yes.
And so that's a nice one. And I wanted you to talk about investment is for rich people. So wait, before that, sorry, I see someone in the chat. Hi, chatty mind. I see your comment. She says very true. She says very true. Let's see if
Lend
we can
money that
pop
you
it
can
up.
forget about.
That you can't forget about. Very, very true. Fantastic. Yeah, so I want you to talk about investment is for rich people, because that's something I have said over and over again, that see, it's a muscle. But I want to hear from you. What was your mindset, and then what made
So
you?
like I said, I had the impression that people that invest are rich. Me, I'm not rich. What am I investing? Have I even made enough? You know, but I didn't understand it, right? To know that even the little, like I said, I was putting money away for rent. I could have invested it and it would have come back. Even if it came back 1 naira more, it would have been more than what I put in, you know. But so it was ignorance, ignorance, and just seeing myself as all this financial capacity, financial freedom is for big people. And that's just a mental thing.
Mm,
So now it's not as if I'm the best investment person, but I know that, look, the quickest way that I invest now, which I think is very pedestrian, is when I make money, I change it to dollars. I,
at least for
I
the
just change it to
Nigerians, it
dollars.
makes sense. Yeah.
But
I
yes, when I
just
make
say it's
money
in
in
government like
Naira,
that. It's not, yes,
yes, sorry, sorry, sorry.
it's
When I
not a
make money,
government something something.
sorry, when I make money in Naira, and I said, like I
Uh-huh.
said, it's a very pedestrian way, it's not, so this is like me just trying to help myself. When I make money in Naira, I change it to dollars. First of all, it's not easy to just be spending dollars like that, number one. Number two, chances are, after a while, when I change that same amount of dollars back to Naira, it will be more. And I can invest in dollars. It's just a place I have come to mentally. And it's a place I've grown into financially. So that I don't just have money all around the place,
Right.
you know. So that's a quick thing. So then I can now put money together, speak to people like Ola and say, okay, what can I do with this amount of money that I have? I want to quickly invest it. So I definitely recommend financial education in a non-jargon, complicated way. I think everybody needs to do that. And if you can't, then surround yourself with one or two people that you can dump it on. But don't say investment is for rich people. It's for anybody. In fact, you become rich when you invest,
I love
And
that.
then
I
yeah,
love that. Go
and
ahead.
then
Sorry.
I learned something else. Um, Again from the Smart Money Woman book, actually, about my worth. That
Mm,
understanding that my worth is not necessarily what I have in the bank, but what am I worth in terms of property, investments, what do I have? That's how to calculate my worth. Not I have 100K in my account, but that's the money I'm spending. I'm not worth that. It's nothing, you know.
network.
So yeah, so then that's really how to build wealth. And that's something I didn't know at all. I didn't understand it in my 20s. I did not. So even when they are releasing all these lists, oh, this person is worth this amount. Oh, what's that amount? It just sounded nice, but I didn't think that I needed to be worth something. I think I was just like, okay, if I have money, I'm comfortable, I'm okay. No, ma, you are not. So
Yeah, no.
now I'm more intentional about planning to grow wealth so that I'm worth something beyond, oh, I have this money in this account or that money in that account. So that intention with what am I worth? I want to now be worth things. So am I putting my money in? So if I have one investment, that's what I'm worth. And that's okay, but I'm starting to build. Also, I've learned that on this same investment is not for riches. You can start small. You don't have to invest 100 million. I didn't need, so that mentality of is when I have big money, 100K, I can do something with it. 500K, I can do something with it, So that has come upon me in my 30s. I didn't have that knowledge in my 20s at all, at all, at
That's
all.
cool.
So 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 yeah, I think those are things that I've started to implement. Um, if it's not the easy things for I've also identified what easy ways does money go. Like how can you just spend? And I've
What
itemized
about
them. So
you?
it's things like
Yeah.
Ashwebi, things like makeup, like this professional makeup thing is actually a thing, and
It's
I think
actually a
people need to look
problem.
into it. It is,
Yes.
you know,
Yes. It's almost
people need to
overdone.
look
Like,
into
I'm
it.
like, what's happening here? And then the
Yeah,
prices you hear, you want to do a photo shoot. They're like, well, whilst I respect your hustle, because I mean, everybody's allowed to price what they want to
yes,
price. Like,
yes,
I
yes,
mean,
yes.
I can't question you on that. But then when people go for weddings every week, and they are doing the same professional makeup, by the time you add up, you're spending 50 grand, 70 grand every week. And then you can't wear those outfits again because it's for this party. And so for the next one, you must produce and appear at the same
Hmm.
frequency. I mean,
So
what happened to
even
buy
because of
that
that,
beautiful black
it
dress
yeah,
from the UK one time?
honestly, also because of that, even if I have to buy the ashwabi and I have to sew it, I'm intentional about the styles I sew. It has to be something I can wear again. It has to be something I
Yes,
can wear to anywhere. I can wear it to church.
anywhere.
I can re-rock. So I know that I'm I'm as good as walking into a
Building my
store and I'm
wardrobe.
buying a dress. So
Yes,
I bought the fabric I sewed. It's not for one day. Is now a part of my wardrobe that I
it's
can
part of
wear.
it.
So it's now so when we are sewing it, we are thinking of utility and fashion, elegance and timelessness. They must come together because the money we are spending has to be an
has
investment.
to,
So
it
I
has to be an
yeah,
investment.
yeah. So I have
Yes,
to look at it
yes.
like, okay, and sometimes I buy some ashwabi because I'm like, oh, I don't have anything red. And this ashwabi is red. It's an opportunity to own a red outfit. So I know that the next time I'm going somewhere and the color is red, I have a red,
That's the
you
outfit to
know?
wear.
uh So sometimes, okay, that's the motivation behind making that investment. I think now it's
Mm,
just being in my 30s is I'm more intentional, I'm more thoughtful, but I
intentional.
now have more knowledge and
Mm,
I'm freer in knowledge. Like the knowledge has given me power. So
power.
you can't misinform me. So even I'm true to myself. I know that okay, and then I have goals. I didn't have financial goals and targets in my 20s, but now I do. In that
Mm,
I'm like, okay, this thing about worth. So it's easy to say, okay, by in 1 year, I want to invest $10K. That's my goal. I want to invest $10K every year or something.
mm,
I want to look
mm.
back at it and say, this 10K is apart from my enjoyment money, my this money, my tidy
I've
money, my so
gathered this.
I've
Yes,
gathered this and I can take
I've
it to the
gathered this.
investment and I can survive without running into that money. You know,
Yeah,
that's now a goal.
fantastic.
I didn't have such
Fantastic.
goals before, but I have that goal
Fantastic.
now and I'm working on that.
I love
So
it.
the end.
I think that's a very, 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 very good point to make. I realize
Mm-hmm,
that people don't remember that you dress for where you are going to. Like,
mm-hmm,
so if you have set where you are going, then every other thing sort of arranges itself to get there.
yeah.
Right. So in your habits, in your spending, if you set a goal for okay, I need to have 10K that is not needed for anything to the side, then even in the hustle, meaning that if you've made enough to live, if you've not made enough to gather that 10K, you are thinking for okay, no, I still need
I still need to push.
money
Yes,
to push.
yes,
Exactly. Still need to push to make that additional money, right? Because
yes,
you have somewhere you're going to. And I love that
yes,
network thing. And for those that are watching and those that will watch the replay and don't know what net worth is, your net worth is basically your assets minus your liability. So you can't use your salary, what you earn, as your net worth because you can
yes.
earn 100 million and spend 99.9, and so you only have 500K. Meanwhile, somebody earns 50 million and spends 20, and so the
Mm,
person's net worth is 30 million. So
mm-hmm.
whilst what you earn is good, what you are able to gather from what you earn is the most important part. Because we'll see the 100 million guy, you probably buy his G Wagon or buy his whatever. But what happens is that if one wind should just blow, he
Mm,
can move from Ikoyi to to Badore overnight. Do you get? But if that's 50, that person at any 15 million is able to save 30, right? Even if a
yeah.
wind blows, right? He's still stable because he has backing somewhere.
Mm-hmm,
So is that
mm-hmm.
network that so beyond I need to earn this amount, right? You need to move from I need to earn to I need to be worth this amount. Now, in that net worth building, there's also investment, which is the good part. Like you don't have to work for the whole naira and cover of what your net worth goal is.
Yeah.
Investing can get you there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for those that are watching, if you don't already subscribe to my channel is finance in simple English, right? Lala doesn't suffer from the jargons when she listens to me, right? So Lala testify.
Yeah, yeah, no, 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 you
Yeah.
should. It's really
So
good.
yeah, so that's the thing, right? You need to surround yourself with the right information. You need to also ask questions, right? A lot of times people actually have answers to your problems or your questions, but if you don't talk, nobody really knows to answer you, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
only by random chance that you will get the answer. So if you're lacking, if you're struggling about your finances, you need to actually make an effort to get the education that you need. Like, and I do recommend the Smart Money series. If you're not a book person, watch it on Netflix. If it's still on Netflix, it's actually very
Okay.
good. It is
Yeah.
very, very, very. I recommend it. I am so like wow, well done, guys, on that one. That one was as in, I was like, wow, this is it. And the ability to communicate things in a relatable way. It was
Mm,
so relatable, right? So if you're not a book person, if you're a book person, go and buy the book. If you're
yeah.
not a book person, watch it on Netflix. It's
Watch the
very, very
show.
good. Yeah, so final words, Lala. I think this has been a very, very enlightening session. So
Yeah.
what do you have to say for us finally? Anything, any last words for us as we
And
end?
I think that financial literacy is bliss because it's given me a pep in my steps, right? There's something about knowing that I I can afford certain things because I have financial freedom and I plan. So for example, I have learned I mean something else I do is I because I traveling is integral to my life. I love it and my work requires it. I don't ever want to not have disposable cash for traveling. So every money, every income I get, I send something to my travel agent. They should just have money in their account in my name. So that when I say issue me 2 tickets for something, they can tell me, okay, ma, you have but ma, to balance this, you need to now add, you know, because it's so important to me. I put money away. Look, if I make 1 naira, as I'm removing my tithe, I'm removing this, I'm sending it's like quack, 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 quack. So I know that okay, this is what I have left. We're staying in the house this whole period until we make another money. So financial freedom and financial literacy gives you financial freedom. So I would say embrace it. I would tell everybody to embrace it. I am a transformed woman and I'm growing. So I feel like by the time I'm 40, my goal is to be really wealthy. I have 5 years to get there. To really build wealth and build capacity in wealth and increase my net worth to a very whatever standard. So in my 20s, I would say I was hustling. Now I'm working circumspectly. My goals are in my front, like they're before me. So they facilitate the decisions I'm making, the investments I'm making, the gigs I'm taking, the fees I'm taking, and I'm like, okay, good. So yeah, so that's what I'll just say. Investment makes you rich. Don't be bound by fear. What you have, like the parable of the talents, when you invest it, you multiply.
Yes, yes. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lala. I think this
You're
was a very
welcome.
good one. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
always say that you can't outsource your health and your finances. You have to engage. And it's very true. The same way nobody can jog for you and nobody can eat vegetables on your behalf. The
Mm,
reality is that you can't outsource your finances. Like people think that,
anytime.
oh, can somebody do it for me? Oh, can you just take my money? There's a mindset, there's some decision, there's a process of thought, there is the goal setting. There are some things that when they say personal finance, there's a reason why it's called personal finance, because it's so personal to you,
Mm,
right? No two people have the same story, even if they earn the same amounts, right? So it's so personal to you that you need to take charge of it. And that work that you're working, what are you working for? Are you working so that you keep working forever?
mm,
Or at some point you can actually step back and begin to do the things you want to do, like travel, like help
mm.
people. Like you see those people that you say you want to help, like you need to empower
Really
yourself
help
to
them.
actually be able to help them, right?
Yes.
So I say again, you can't outsource your health and your finances. You have to engage. Thank you so much, Lala. This has been a beautiful session.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, bye, bye, everyone.
Bye.